Normanton is a local history project exploring how the population and landscape of Normanton Road and Pear Tree Road in Derby has changed from the 1960s to the present day. The project is run by Fifth Word Theatre Company in partnership with Derby Museums and supported by Derby Local Studies and Family History Library. The whole project's been made possible thanks to a grant from Heritage Lottery Fund.
It's really good, and there's lots of people living here, and it's good.
Normanton is a really unique suburb of Derby. It's very culturally diverse and many different communities and people have come and settled there to make it their home.
There was a house round the corner which we really liked because the old man who lived in the house would bring his steamroller out and we'd see it on the street and everyone would come out.
The hub of Normanton is Normanton Road and Pear Tree Road, where you will find a whole host of businesses and shops, places of worship and schools, which all adds to the vibrancy and life of the area.
In Normanton we had a shop, we used to call it Paul's, at the bottom of St James's Road. It sold all the yams and the bananas and you know it, ackee and saltfish and all the West Indian foods that we need. Mum used to always send me to Paul's. Go to Mrs Paul and ask her to send me this. Because them days a lot of people had a book. They'll give it me and they'll put it in the book. And at the end of the week or month, the parents go and pay for it. You know, that's how it was then. Everybody was helping each other.
We know that the local archives holds a lot of information about Normanton prior to the 1960s. But what this project wants to do is give a snapshot of what it is like to live in Normanton today.
When I go with my mum or my cousin to Normanton, I always go to a pancake shop to eat.
We've worked with members of the local community and volunteers to help bring this project together. They have been delving into the local archives to see what already exists about Normanton, as well as going out and talking to people and businesses along Normanton Road and Pear Tree Road.
Naturally, when I first heard about it, I thought that's something I want to get involved in. It's great just to talk to people about your old neighbourhood and knowing how much it meant to me. It's great that other people still, show an interest in it. I found the whole idea of it just brilliant and I just love being involved in it. So it gives you a snapshot of Pear Tree. You can see my old schools, nursery, baseball ground, my home down there. Obviously this whole thing is it's about pride and being proud of the area that you came from, and a lot of it's been lost over the years. I think we can try and reclaim that and get people to come forward and say, look, I've got some photos on Normanton.
The volunteers that we work with receive training in archival research and also how to conduct an oral history interview.
I wanted to do oral history recordings for ages, and this project has given me the skills to be able to go and do that.
The current thinking on memory is it isn't like a roll of film. You just can't go back to 1965 and there it all is. That's obvious. None of us could really do that very well. It's more like a collage or a jigsaw puzzle. Some of the pieces of that puzzle or that collage are very vivid. These memories are really strong. They're well encoded. And all of you would have memories throughout your life that are instantly accessible. It's surprising how many memories aren't gone completely. You just need a bit of help to get to them.
It's that thing of stories being kept alive by them being retold. And so a project like this allows us to go back and hear those stories that maybe don't get told that often. I feel quite lucky to have had those moments with the people that were recorded.
A really special thing about this project is how we've collected personal memories from residents who live there now or used to live there or work in Normanton. We've probably spoken to about 20 individuals and we have hours and hours of recorded interviews of people sharing their memories of Normanton, telling us how they came to be in Normanton and what Normanton means to them.
My mum and dad on Chatham Street, and my grandma lived down the street, aunts and uncles round the corner. Communities were all tight-knit in those days. You were never far away from relatives. There was still horse-drawn transport in the streets. The bread was delivered by horse and cart, and milk and rag and bone men. So there was horses all around the place, and a blacksmith on Village Street. So it was like being born into the 1940s, a different world.
We've spoken to people from a range of faith groups and a range of backgrounds, people from all sorts of countries who come to live in Normanton, such as Pakistan, India, Quebec, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Jamaica. The list has gone on and it's been fascinating.
One of the fondest memories is Saturday mornings we used to go to ABC Cinema on East Street. You know, that's if Mum would let me, because Mum was very strict. Mum would say, "Have you done your chores?"
The project will culminate in a This is Normanton exhibition that will launch at Pickford's house in Derby and then go on to the Arboretum Park and Pear Tree Library. We are also going to be working with a playwright who's going to look at all the raw material that we've gathered throughout the project, such as the oral histories and the archival material, and they're going to create an original new play based on this research.
Celebration means that what you're doing, and Ítasztagtől means where are you going somewhere.
We hope that this project will go some way towards celebrating the rich and changing culture that can be found in Normanton.
Some of those stories that maybe would have been lost have now been captured and hopefully can be kept and made accessible going forward for people in 10, 15, 20 years' time.
It can be a happy place. It can be a happy place.
There is something for everyone if you look for it.
We have the exhibition upstairs, and what you'll see is a collection of photographs, and you'll hear people's voices as well, and that's clips that we've chosen from the oral histories. We spoke to about 20 individuals, and they will all be transcribed and kept in the local studies library, because what was important for us is to think about what it's like to live in Normanton today, to give a bit of a snapshot. And I'm sure you're all aware that sometimes it can get a little bit of a bad press, so this launch is celebrating the community.
It's a great project. It's a lot of interest to me because I used to work in Normanton.
I spent the vast majority of my working life down in the Normanton Pear Tree area. It's smashing, wonderful area, some tremendous people meeting in such as today with all the different nationalities. It's got to be good. Join them all together.
It's important, these projects are important because it gives people a sense of identity, who they are and where they come from.
I think it's important for an exhibition like this, you know, because a lot of people wouldn't know otherwise, you know. So
it's about bringing people together and people having an awareness of other people's culture and what other people do, which is very, very important, yeah? Very important for a community, because the community of Normanton is culturally diverse. So therefore, this is actually good for it.
Seeing the old photographs here of the area, it's just got my heart.
Because I actually live in Derby recently, and so I'm really keen to get to know a little bit history about Derby, and I study regeneration project, and then this is exactly what I really fascinated about, the living history about people, and also like you can bump into locals and ask them questions.
You sometimes do need reminding of the joy you've had in the past, and you can still have it now. And we do take things for granted so much, and we forget those special times and friendships, and you know, it's just nice to get them going again.
It should inspire people, you know what I mean, to actually, it's good in the sense that it's actually showing that what happened in the past, that people actually in the Normanton community actually contributed something towards Derby.
To the younger people coming through, to know of the ancestors, history, etc. of the Normanton and Pear Tree area, just to listen to old folks such as I am now, can only be beneficial.
I would just like to see more of this kind of stuff happening, not only in my old neighbourhood of Pear Tree and Normanton, but other areas within Derby, Littleover, Mickleover, Sinfin. Just give people a sense of pride, you know, in terms of where they actually came from, to share that with others and realise that we all have similar experiences, no matter where we were born and raised. We can all, share these stories and just try and inspire others to be good and do better.
This has been fantastic, honestly, it really has. It's quite, it's a bit tearful really, seeing the old buildings and thinking that you were in there dancing and, having a good time.
I think it's been wonderful.
I can speak about home, yeah.
Home is Normanton.
I like my street. Ambulance, like shouting. When I came to England, the first thing my dad bought me was ice cream. Our food is very, very, very different, I can tell you. We get this chicken pot. We put eggs in this thing and we dip it in there and we get a little bit of flour to dip down there and then we let it cook like 10 minutes and when it's that done we go with it and mash it
After like a few years, I start feeling like I'm home.
This place makes me feel God.